Thrown it all.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm doing very good.
It's gonna replace it.
Yeah, actually two of them did.
Yeah, it's on the car.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Well, small enough to,
Is it a regular?
I don't know.
It's supposed to matter.
Huh?
Is it supposed to matter?
Chances are. You know, it's really strange today, this morning. Somebody put signs out on the Celebration Boulevard.
It was CBD for tree trimming.
CBD for tree trimming, they're doing them all around town.
Oh.
It is 6 p.m.
Yes. Oh, is that not you?
The tree trimming.
See,
I saw the tree down, I didn't see the car underneath it. All right, well, it's that time, 6 o'clock. So, good evening and welcome to the Master Planning Committee meeting on Wednesday, July 16th. We have a quorum. Do we have anybody online? We have Mark. Is online, correct? Hello, Mark. Thanks for joining. In the room, we have Joanna, Jim, Andrew, and myself. More. Okay, so we'll call the meeting to order. We have 4 items plus a 5th item that I'm going to add. We'll ask Jim to give us a financial update after we go through the projects. He spends a lot of time doing just to show us where we are with our fund. So any other comments or questions before we begin?
it's just comment from kind of the email today. Do we want to add owners' comments and committee comments to the agenda moving forward? Just as a standing item.
That was sort of my recommendation. I think we should have an open committee.
I was just gonna say, like, on our comments after call, we're gonna do that, and then shut it off again before adjournment, if you want committee comments.
Yeah, who's committee, committee comments.
Like anyone else who has comments.
We have thoughts at the end of the meeting.
Oh, I mean, I don't join the meeting, but we want to wait to the end. God bless you.
Well, no, like, obviously, if it's pertinent to something that's already on the agenda, you speak there, but then just to have it as a thing of
Got it.
open to the committee or something else.
Sure, sure. We'll start adding those to it. So, in that spirit, does anybody like to make any comments before we begin?
Oh, thank you.
Welcome, thank you for joining. Okay, good. Thank you for that. Okay, splash pad update. As many of you know, I was gone out of the state and out of the country for a month, and Jacob and Lauren did a great job kind of moving the splash pad along. So I'll give you my view where we are with that. It's gonna look at half empty, half full. We're making very good progress. We're progressing along all the tasks we had to do. We're running, I'm gonna look at it, probably 30 to 45 days later than the schedule we had laid out back in February. Which means the splash pad, if we're lucky, is sometime middle of October. I'll just give you a couple of reasons why that's late. One is it took, so splash pad USA uses a third party to do the engineering plans. And that took them an extra 3+ weeks longer than what they had assumed. They put pressure on them, for a variety of reasons. We kept putting pressure on splash pad, but that was it. And then the second issue we ran into, once all the plans were done, we submitted them to Osceola County. Osceola County came back with a requirement for an additional site plan that splash pad was not something they'd have to do. And because it was the same footprint, and the impervious calculations didn't change, but Osceola County required that all those plans to be updated and to be done. So they hired a company, they did it, wait for the final report. So just all moving a little bit slower than we would like, but we still anticipate we'll cut that ribbon hopefully sometime in October. No issues as far as financial in terms of what we committed to the board and to ourselves. We'll probably come in hopefully a little bit under, but until they put the shovel in the ground, we won't know. That's when the contingency normally we get chewed up. But so far, there's nothing that's come up in the permitting process or the design process that raises any financial questions.
So the final payment will probably be more in October rather than.
Final payment will not be until October.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, their original drop dead date was an October 3 based on the time frame that they sent out. So now, I mean, permitting was supposed to be done June 13th, so we're basically 30 days behind schedule.
Okay, right, and we keep putting pressure. They put pressure on themselves. They're not like the organization that start putting a little extra pressure on this and stuff. We got this. We're doing it, and this is what we do. And so anyway, so yeah, it's going to be. They were October 3rd. I had, I had this 30 days earlier than that, and in my mind. But anyway, it's moving along. No issues other than taking a little bit more time. But the other thing we may want to be aware of. So when they did the initial design, it was for 1,600 square feet, and that left this apron, right? Not in scope. Apron. The current concrete that's there, that's cracking and whatever. So they are they updated their plans to include all of the space that's currently in the fence of the kiddie pool that's there. Okay, and they will keep the same surface and do all the work so that it's one smooth look. Okay, it's just,
Yeah, it should be.
but it should be, except when we told them, we said do 1,600, what they came and said, that's not what was necessarily designed or bid. And then we looked at it early on, Lauren and I, and Jacob, and said, oh, we can't have this look. So it's been fixed, all the plans have been updated, and so we'll just have a much nicer look and so anyway, so unless there's any questions, comments, Splash.
Just on that adjustment,
Yeah.
there wasn't any change to the overall look. They're just building it within their current budget and no change, right?
There's about a 5 foot perimeter on the fence that was going to be using existing concrete. That's now going to be new poured concrete to match the rest.
I'll put a rebar in and put that in.
It seems like uncontrollable delays, so. And,
No, I mean, this is not, I should say, this is just some minor delays that, we didn't put much contingency, we didn't put any contingency in the schedule because we really wanted to just get our first project done as quickly as possible. And, so, okay,
I'll just note their contractual timeline doesn't start until they get the permits in hand.
yes, because so their schedule that they gave us was a weekly schedule, which was from when permits were issued, and that schedule basically was I don't know what they said, but they took 3+ weeks to go in with the backhoe, dig everything up, put it in all the new plumbing, and then put the surface down. Let it cure for 30 days, then come back and spend another 3+ weeks putting in all the fixtures and doing all the electrical and plumbing above ground work. So, but their schedule did not begin because they're used to.
That said, they're already planning mobilization based on what we expect the permits to be.
Because they bring in out of town contractors to do the work. For those 2 to 3 weeks, they put them up in a hotel and you guys will stay here.
Alec has joined the meeting virtually.
Hey, Alec. Okey dokey.
Hey, good evening. I'll see you in a few.
Good, thanks. Okay, so that's splash pads.
Yeah,
Mark?
well, one quick comment on that is that's part of the reason with the pickleball courts. I've made sure there's we're doing the RFP with an architecture firm overlooking at, even though we all know they probably do courts, whatever, with design build, but it's the same case where they just concentrate on the court, not everything around it. So that's why there's will be the extra effort with the pickleball courts and make sure the design is holistic, of course. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. It's kind of the same thing with all these things, with all these projects, that there's everything around whatever we're working on as well that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, well, Mark, well, since you've got your mute turned off, second topic, give us an update on where we are with the town hall renovation.
Jacob those guys could probably do it better. We're certainly having calls with contractors. They just got their draft of the contract to Lauren and crew to be able to look at that. They're working on the pricing. Now with all the bids, they should have that back. Sound like in 2 weeks from now?
Seems like they'll have some really rough parameter pricing numbers from RFI returns in 2 weeks. We don't expect all the numbers, but at
Right.
least we'll start receiving some numbers.
So
Yeah.
they're not gonna come up with a not to exceed number until they get some of these back.
Yeah.
They'll wait until they have them back. They did think they're trying to have it all back by the time this goes in front of the board for the contract. So that is their goal. They're hoping to have it wrapped up by then.
My
To
goal to
have it with it.
the workshop on August 13th
Right,
and do the 3.17U presentation at that point.
yeah,
And then final approval of the pro board meeting at the end of August.
that'd be great.
So I've given, DeAngelis was provided a timeline for contract negotiations to be done and completed by August 8th, so this can be issued in the packet. So we're running this contract
Yeah,
with legal counsel, and it was provided to Mark, Joe, and Jared as well for commentary.
How big is the contract?
Well, yeah,
20 pages.
Pages?
probably total 60 with the 2 supplements.
Okay.
And that's
Uh,
it.
Yeah,
Otherwise, they're starting on the permit process. So we'll see how that goes with it. The only hangup I see is what they just asked about, which is civil is one of those things that sometimes the municipality requires that the civil is signed off on before they'll finish their reviews. So they're going to find out if that's the case for Osceola or not. But the permit process is going. So we'll see how that goes. So they're doing what they can to get it going. But everything's submitted.
Yeah, and they're working to hopefully stay at that 300 or that 3 million line.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're waiting though until they get everything back so they can see what value engineering proposals need to be considered after they see what the proposals are.
I'll find that kind of stuff. So, we need to get some of them back, especially, I mean, depending on what's available and all that kind of stuff, so.
Yeah, one caution I had with the value engineering, as I keep seeing it happen everywhere, is some of them are just a blatant no for a building that's, we know is not going to be necessarily well maintained and has issues. So for instance, even something that was mentioned on the call was not necessarily doing the connection of the downspouts to the drainage pipes. That's exactly what occurred in the beginning with this building. You can actually see it on the civil drawings where they were X'd out. So had that not been done, we may not be here today for part of the issues. So anyway, any value engineering suggestions need to be carefully reviewed and not, I have no idea where the numbers come in, but in other words, if it starts coming in a little bit over 3 million, we really need to balance what their suggestions are against making sure that the building doesn't have issues again and that all the MEP systems everything is updated correctly for a building that the intent is not to touch it again for a long time. So anyway, I made that clear that got to be careful about the things that we do suggest for value engineering.
So we've asked for a one sheet on any value engineering options that'll be reviewed by Mark and us and Click. And then the board will make kind of final decisions based on recommendations.
and I should know this, so I apologize. So there, we'll talk about cost, value add, et cetera, et cetera. On top of that, then, there's costs that, just, right, we keep talking about 3.250, right? But they come in and just make leave with everything 3 million. Do we have a list on top of that of all the costs that we would need to incur? So, I mean, Birch
Furniture's part of it.
is part of their 3 million. So is there anything that's not in there?
No,
So that's furniture, that's doors, that's carpeting, that's,
everything.
I know it's the structure, but
Lights.
The finishes are all in it.
Yeah.
It's
Finishes,
usually
okay.
furniture and
Okay.
technology stuff is,
Technology in there, security cameras, desks.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it's,
everything.
so the house is moving.
Yeah, there's a small allotment set in next year's budget for some moving things, but that's more janitorial,
Yeah.
small,
Okay.
very small wares.
Okay.
But-
All your equipment from your current office,
Mhm.
so there's not a whole brand new expense of
Yeah.
moving on top of that.
Computers, things like that.
Correct.
That's
Those are IT operational budgets.
budgets and
And
it's,
we have a replacement program.
it's,
Got those.
okay.
They move with us.
It's not fun.
They're really small nowadays.
Yeah. Okay, so, yeah, August 13th, last I checked, it was like a month from now. That's really soon, right? Lots of work to be done, so, hopefully we get it done.
Yeah, a
Okay,
bit ambitious, but
but
we want to keep
we,
it that way.
we want to, this is a priority, and we want to do that.
Mhm.
Okay, questions?
I guess one is the insurance claim that's coming up to this project if it's starting, so is there a recommendation you're giving to the board to kind of resolve that to be done with it, or
We're waiting on,
once we start building that, you know, whatever.
so we have to provide notice to the insurance company that we're starting work on this building, so they have one last opportunity to inspect the building. They've already been and inspected the building themselves. They've had an engineer and then another third party come out to inspect the building. They're doing a examination under oath of our claims representative next month. They already did one of me earlier this year. So it's really, at this point, Tower Grill's. So,
Yeah, just making sure whatever needs to be next
Yeah.
month,
we've already,
taken care of, and whatever it is. And then the second question would be, have we done what the ongoing costs are gonna be to maintain it on?
no, that's part of the work. We need to prep that for the 3.178 for the 13th. So
Okay.
that's when you start that this week.
And that's on management to do entirely?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if this, if this
Theoretically-
committee wants to provide input on it, or the finance committee, then we'll welcome that, but.
Theoretically, it shouldn't change on it.
Well, I was gonna say, theoretically, it shouldn't change from
If the original.
what it used to be. It should be less theoretically, because everything's right now.
Yeah.
But the problem is you haven't,
And-
yeah, but you haven't been spending that money now. So I don't know, but you're spending rent, so you know, the money may not, on a year-to-year basis, it may be lumpy. But,
I would say you can't go from prior because it wasn't being.
Yes.
So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Zero before, we have to build something.
but it
We
shouldn't
have a
be,
firmer cost of what it's going to cost and what that not to exceed number is. We can use that as our baseline for our expenditures moving forward in terms of maintaining the building.
And-
And then base that into percentage contributions to the research study.
and on a year-to-year basis, though, this year you're paying all the rent for the space.
Yeah.
Where you are, so.
Well, merchandise sales will go up.
Absolutely.
I think it's.
Don't lie.
Yeah, I know.
I think the best for the rental agreement will fall off, but that would also cover carrying costs are suggested, so
Yeah.
hopefully it's not too much more than the city doing.
You're looking at half of the run rate cost over the last year that since we've not been in the building in terms of electrical and water.
I said half.
Yeah, we've.
Approximately,
Okay, so year-to-year, it'd be up then.
yeah, and it should be offset somewhat by the rebates and by our rental.
Right,
Yeah.
okay, got it. Okay. Next topic, multi-function sports courts. Through the leadership of Jacob and others, the RFP for the design specs, design plans went out on July 1st.
We tried the first, but we
I
just,
saw it first,
Yeah.
but
that was the goal.
it was first on a piece of paper, reality 7, with the responses due back on August 4th. Okay, so that's when we meet next month, we will have gotten back that, so that we'll have not only designs, but we'll have, perhaps a better estimate as to what it might cost.
How did we decide who we were sending it to?
Mark provided some recommendations. We also sent it to LRK Columbus and Associates, Allen, and then some other AIA, kind of member architects in the area.
So get some local firms and we have at least 3 that have indicated that they will reply, and another 2 or 3 who might. We should have.
Yeah, 2 hard-nosed and 2 non-responsive.
But this is just for the design, right?
Design drawings.
Right, this is just to take what Mark did. and
Yeah, it's just the design.
Tonight, 4 o'clock in the morning for 2 months, you know, and put that for serious.
That was the pickleball.
Who are the no's?
Looking it up.
For anyone, if you have anyone interested or you think that you want to pass it to, that RFP is on the website on one of the very first tabs of open RFPs. Just putting it on for anyone and everyone.
I appreciate it.
Hershey Group was a no, and then I can't remember the name of the other one, but they're a design build firm only, and
That's I would rather not do that. It's like.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see what we get. Alec, if you can think of any other group that might be interested. But otherwise, see if I can dig up a couple more. Because it sounds like you don't have too many actually responding. I know the person I sent is doing it.
yeah,
We have 3 plus 2, probably 5 people responding potentially.
Okay,
3 respond, 2 lukewarm.
Okay, so maybe 4.
okay. Just making sure we.
Hey, Mark,
Yeah.
have you been happy with Kalik?
Yes,
Yeah,
Oh, they want
they're
4.
okay.
They might be able to do this too.
Yeah, definitely. It's worth having them, ask them if they're interested.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Yeah, that'd be awesome, right? Yeah, okay, that's good.
I
Thank
don't have
you.
anything against them, but they would be fine for this as well.
Well, again, it can't hurt to ask, right? And if they want to respond, that's great. It's one more company for us to evaluate. All right, so what we're in the process of building is then a detailed plan for the from August 4th. Kind of a every 2-week plan between that and awarding the construction, to start construction of the courts, which would probably be sometime next year.
Right.
But our goal is to, with this project, like the splash pad, to move as aggressively as possible, you know, as directed by We're just talking about once we get back the bids, we select a firm, they do the plans, and then we put it out as quickly as possible. So the question I have, or the request to Mark, Alec, and anybody else is, so we're just talking about finding enough design companies. Okay, but 30 minutes after we're done with that, we need to have build.
Yep.
Okay, and I'd like to ask you and Mark and anybody else, if you can start identifying that list, so that as soon as we, maybe it's months from now, right, so it's not like it's tomorrow, but I don't want to have to all of a sudden say, okay, now what do we do? That we've got lined up people who we'll talk to and say, hey, here's what we're doing, right? Here's, I mean, you don't have the engineering plans, but you have Mark's plans to this, what type of project it's gonna look like, size, scope, et cetera, and to line them up.
Well, we could even take what we have now and just do an R5 for interest.
Yeah.
Once we identify, get down the list.
I would
Right.
too, just because, so we can say, well, you know, so we don't wanna end up probably having 2 companies, so they don't know, how do we know that's the right price, right? That's a big expenditure, right? So if we can, and that's, okay.
Joe, when are you expect that action might actually start on these courts?
I'm expecting that to be in the second quarter of next year.
Okay.
That is the earliest, that's a pretty aggressive schedule, but that's what we'd like to go to.
So it was August fourth, our design bids.
Design bids back.
How long to turn a bid? Because it's gonna be,
It can, I mean.
you gotta go to the board meeting, right?
Yeah, well, to be on the board, if we can get this group to review and make a recommendation before the board workshop, then we can put it on the board meeting at the end of August.
End of August, okay.
But it's, as much as I love that, may very well roll into,
The September workshop.
September.
Possible.
Okay, because because you want to have a dialogue with firms, you know, and do that and have that dialogue. So I think we would make a decision in August, make a, you know, determination, and then go get the approval, in September.
Yeah, the timeline that we were thinking was this group makes a decision in August to recommend to the board in September. And then award a contract in September, start end of September, beginning October in terms of the design.
Yes,
And then at that time, we can
start at, yeah, and then you,
No, the timing works out, we should be pretty much getting done with the 61.
yeah.
Yeah, and the permitting for this will potentially take a little bit just because of.
Permitting is fine,
management
it's just,
piece of it.
it's just the,
Yeah, I know the upfront. Yeah, I agree with the pace we just said.
One of the things we should leverage is the design firm keep going for, way ahead of, contractor on board.
Yeah.
The civil piece can go in on its own. That's the one that's really critical.
Yeah.
Especially for this one with the retention and the entities that have to be dealt with. So that's the piece that should go in separately ahead of time.
is that for a lot, for sure.
So I guess I'm gonna ask a question, and it might not be popular, but are we building these courts in the correct place? And what I mean by that is it's between an office building, a CCTV, and a dog park on the other side, which we know pickleball is probably a little noisy. And looking at what else we have within Celebration, there's Lot F, which I know is underwater, so to speak, and much more difficult, but is that something we should look into? The other thought I had was, if you look at Lakeside, we have that huge road going all the way through with that circle at the end. Is there any ability to pretty much chop that road off, put a parking lot toward the front, and that opens up green space for potential basketball courts and pickleball courts, tennis courts, et cetera? So,
Can I ask you a question? Have you walked out to lot B and closed your eyes? Stood there. I have, I've been out there doing site visits for this. It is extremely loud. That lot is so loud with 417 and
The interstate, yeah.
that it's, I mean, pickleballs, we know from other communities, the biggest issue with it is the noise decibels. That site is so loud, it isn't, you know, as far as noise wise, it's a great location for that.
But to answer your question, it's my opinion, no, it's not a great location. I wouldn't, you know, if you had a blank piece of paper, you want to put it somewhere more central, okay? But the more central it is, then you get into noise, et cetera, complaints. But when we spent a lot of time, we walked through all 60 different places and the reality is this, and over time, right, as we build up that corridor, potentially more with phase 2 of our master plan several years from now, and put, you know, potentially community center. And now you've got soccer fields, community center, dog park, and sports courts.
Well, the one thing that the sports courts provide that the dog park doesn't currently have is a restroom.
Yeah, the dog park gets restrooms and so does quite a bit of things, actually. It definitely helps that condition. What I will say about the noise is it's a lot less with paddles people are using today. The last visit I did to one, I can't say the noise bugged me at all. But in the earlier days of it, when we were first looking at this, noise was more of a problem. But to Jacob's comment, it's loud as heck out there with every other car that goes by. So I kind of agree. The other thing is having some screens for Now, there's gonna be landscaping down either side of this, obviously fences, that. Oh, hold on, I gotta feed my child. There you go. Be careful with that. Okay, all right. Anyway, there's things we can do to mitigate the noise going side to side. The reality is people are gonna be playing in the morning and the early, and evening, so I'm not sure it's as much of a concern for the office building as dogs, who knows? They can get over the exhaust of all the cars going by.
I mean, like Alec always said, it's not supposed to be perfect, it's supposed to be progress, right? So it's not a perfect location, but it's probably.
That's a great question, we can talk about it now, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no,
let's make sure we're
Yeah,
confident in the steps we're taking.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's been well researched, discussed, debated, and it's got pros and cons, but the alternative is there is really not a viable alternative. And so, and it's some ancillary benefits such as,
So then just add on dog parks and bathrooms.
No,
They would have access.
they have access to this, the bathrooms.
Yeah.
Bathrooms are part of this stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, bathrooms are on.
to
edge
his
of this
bathrooms
building.
now, walking the dog, you need to go to the bathroom.
Is that gonna be in the dog parks, or do they stop?
It's at the dog park end. So there's two restrooms at the end of whatever pavilion it is, that obviously with a gate entrance, they would have access to at least just walk down the half distance down the dog park, to get to them. But at least there's something there. There you go. Yeah. So they're on that left-hand side, the two little white boxes.
That's right here.
Yeah, and the one thing I will say with the pickleball people now, they're already traveling to North Village. I have a feeling that most people end up getting in their car anyway.
So
But,
one comment received so far from the site visit that has taken place is that we would like to have a secondary entrance all the way down on the side close to the dog park, specifically for use of dog park patrons.
oh, yeah, yes, I just didn't draw it. Yeah, there could be a.
So,
gate
yeah,
there easily.
yeah, exactly.
You said, oh, I'm sorry, just like curiosity.
That was Bumpus and Associates.
Okay, the engineers, okay,
Yeah,
because otherwise it was only one entrance.
we should have said that.
Yeah, the central entrance, but my intent, I just didn't draw everything because
Got it.
Yes.
I did this for the internet.
It's 2:00.
Probably should be
Well,
three.
there'd be, that's my normal work, but this was done just for pickleball wars. But yeah, there'd just be a gate at that end, right where the fork in the sidewalk is. So that's not a problem to have another secured gate. It's just one more gate.
Yeah,
And then I guess for transparency of moving forward, should we still call this a multi-function course or is it really pickleball
no.
course?
No, they should be.
Function.
It's half
is-
pickleball, half something else.
Well, because, let me see.
I just don't want to set up the board and.
So we're,
No, that's-
so right above that image and when this out as well with the site visits that are required for the RP is it shows here that it's multi.
Okay, well, let me explain, right, give you my view, right? Okay, so there are, I've lost track of how many courts we got. There's eight courts.
So 4 would be.
Eight
dedicated.
courts, those courts are individual courts. Okay, and initially, 4 of those courts, maybe 5, probably 4, will be striped and set up for pickleball. The other 3 or 4 will be striped and set up for 2 for basketball and 1 for something else, right? Or whatever it is. So now, 2 years from now, if nobody's playing basketball and lots of people are playing pickleball, we can restripe and do. If you want to go up there and play with your son and play field hockey on the courts, you can go do that, but whatever. But the courts will be there and they'll initially be dedicated. Now, guess what, we're gonna put the basketball in, right? It's not gonna be one roll away, it's just gonna be in the ground. That's not to say 2 years from now, so we need 3 basketball courts up there, fine. There's not gonna be 3 basketball courts. So they're flexible but not daily, not flexible. Okay, but they're not gonna be 8 courts just for pickleball. There's gonna be 4 or 5, and there's gonna be 2 or 3, you know, as we get through this process, we'll make that determination what it initially looks like. But no, they're not gonna be all pickleball. Some of us thought they all should be pickleball, some of us thought there should be more basketball. And so we said, we're gonna leave them multifunction with the flexibility to adapt based upon community demand.
So then as they're built, we're expecting 4 to be pickleball and the other one set up as half a basketball court. That's the multi-purpose court starting.
Right now, it doesn't read that way. It reads 4 plus, it doesn't add to 8, the way we laid it out. So we just got to we're going to discuss once we get the engineering plans. What the initial layout would be, whether or not it's 4 plus 2 basketball.
They can set multiple lines on one court. For instance, we have a soccer ball field, but one soccer ball field is often used for lacrosse. It's often used for field hockey.
But if you're using a basketball court, how many pickleball is that? Is that 3? Is it 4? Is it 2?
No, okay, again,
It's,
Mark's
you'll
gonna-
never,
Mark- okay, you go, Mark.
basketball takes a much larger area. So all there is for basketball is really what that other diagram showed, which is essentially the 3-point line, and it's part of the court.
Right.
So it's really just practice shooting type space.
There's 3 half courts, 2 or 3 half courts. There is no full
Yeah.
court. It's
Right,
Right,
no,
there would never be a full
Okay.
court there.
pickleball courts and then 1 basketball court,
well,
half court.
but then we've got to decide.
Right, I mean, is that the length of that space?
No, it's 8. You get to pick 8.
You could put 4 half-court basketball and 4 pickleball.
You can pick 5 plus 1 plus 1. There are 8 unique.
Pickleball's not that wide, that seems a little, I think at least.
It's one of the other thing.
No,
We'll not mark for this.
I think we have a square footage that fits in that space.
yes.
And so Mark has done an initial layout, and then we would receive more concepts from our design team to say.
Yeah,
give
that's
us-
the idea is the design
Right.
team will work on what fits. And
Yes.
the point is to be able to have it used for, you know, if lines are there or whatever, it's easy to put up a net, put up whatever, to take care of a variety of things. But again, it's not meant to be a full basketball court. It's a little practice area to shoot, like what used to be in the parking lot of the school, for instance. We obviously still have need for actual basketball courts somewhere else that should be central or more central.
Which that's where, as we get this time, we'll probably see more of an understanding. Do we want it, are we kind of doing like a half-assed basketball court just to fit in? Or do we commit to just, you know what, do it all pickleball and have the 8 courts and let's go. So that's something that.
Yeah.
That's just in conversation.
That's
What we need to do, because it might be that, you know what, it's only good for pickleball, or if you do basketball, then you're gonna chop off 3, is it really worth it to do that?
That's not we are these other people.
Okay, but
Yeah, that's what the design team's for.
But that's a
It's
that's a
exactly
good
that.
discussion because I think everybody's got a slightly different view. And yes, because the pickleball people will say, if 4's not enough, do 8. And the basketball guys will say, you only get the 1 court downtown. So it's.
I'm just saying, I feel like we're forcing the basketball piece a little bit, where.
Remember, they're serving metrics.
Basketball, I would say, is totally acceptable.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people, Mark, well, here's the thing is, Mark, we got 2 guys, Mark and Al like to play basketball with their kids, right? They can't go downtown because it's like 20 guys.
There's nowhere to go.
But so where can they just go to shoot some shots with their kids, right? Or you, right? Any dad, right? 2 kids want to go do some shots. Like my son comes home, wants to go shoot. There is no place for that right now. Because you lost
Yeah.
that.
I'm one to 300 people with a basketball thing in my driveway.
Yeah.
As a violation of everything. So that's just what
Anyway,
we're
so-
forced into.
Let's table this discussion, but
Well,
So-
it's for, exactly. The
shortly.
design team will come up with what fits in it. That's the whole point of doing that process. What I will say is we all studied quite a bit of what is typical for the number of pickleball courts for a community our size. And you're not going to convince me that 8's the right number. That 4 to 6 is really what the average is pretty much everywhere in the state of Florida anyway. That's easy to find in 10 seconds online since we already did it
Yeah,
once.
I don't know anywhere.
And also in the, the usage time is very particular.
I think it's good debate, we have X square footage.
That's what,
What do we want that's?
but I think you raised some good points.
It's
Let's,
for-
we're gonna have it.
And the other option would be for basketball, right? Are you, if you keep the lakeside format the same, can you get 2 basketball courts on that side? If you slide the one down closer to
And then
the.
we'll-
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
I think-
yeah,
So is that where you put a full basketball court there, then you do full pickleball in Mount Big?
yeah.
You cannot fit,
Sure,
again,
I love that,
Well, I think I'll lay that out, we,
yeah,
So again, it's just more of, I don't want,
excellent.
this is the only land we have, we're pitching everything into it, let's be following. This is the project we should do, we do it well,
Yeah.
not just trying to fit everything.
Now, yes, and I'll just, I think that's got a lot of merit. Yeah, this is like this political topic is probably,
anyway,
politics never gonna sweat. One of the things that we did, decision we made was, there was so much energy behind doing pickleball, not doing pickleball, that we did say, listen, we'll leave these for the ability to change over time depending upon demand. But we could change that, or we could say, okay, we're gonna change over demand, but we just gotta, we know basketball, this has been a topic, that this, for people in this room, where it needs to be replaced, right? And
Something more for sure.
I think for sure, but can you do that downtown? So I think let's wait till the engineers come back with, and then we can have a separate 2-hour dialogue on this one topic, because that's so much everybody's got their views. And then we'll make a recommendation, and the majority will vote on the recommendation, and then that's what we'll propose to the goal board.
I do think there's another component after, which is how do we operationalize it? Right, so if you think about soccer fields, we have a soccer league, right? So Markham does that, and there's the majority of the time on soccer fields is through that, right? So pickleball, same thing. You got a pickleball league, but what if Joe and I just want to play and we didn't sign? Like, how are we going to do the operationalizing of that? So that it's not, hey, I got 8 because on the pickleball league, and sorry, Joe and Alec, you can't play because, so you gotta be careful.
It's like tennis, yeah, the people always complain about.
I can't get tennis because,
So we don't have the same thing in
It would
pickleball.
be like the tennis court where we would have to limit the partner program's use of the courts to this timeframe, so.
But but that is a whole separate and
We're
important
gonna be talking
topic.
about that.
Because I was recently out in Arizona, and this is, see everybody, you buy a band. You buy a band for $75 a year, right? And that band allows you to play pickleball courts.
Okay.
To have a band, you don't get to play. And we take that $75 times 200 people, 300 people, and it pays for maintenance and lights and anything, you want to do. So there's that. Okay, that's a different topic than, who gets to use the courts when, right? But these are all, we gotta get.
We'll have to take the Disney approach and just charge a lot for 10 to 12.
Yeah,
There's silver.
You have my honors.
You got the silver, gold, bronze, no, see,
It's a different colored bracelet in the evening.
I think that's the task for the rec committee. So
Yeah,
you can-
Sure, yeah, right, but they need to figure out, times, usage, but I really like that armband thing, you know what, if you wanna play.
Yeah.
They said, well, no, we don't do that, I think it's great, okay, so we're spending $1,000 building it. Maybe you said you wanna use it, because currently the pickleball club is years and years ago, you have to join.
Yeah.
Right, so they take that money, the armbands that they sell plus town hall, and then that comes back to Parks and Rec for the maintenance of it.
Yeah, as long as there's availability for the common resident, right? It's not part of the pickleball club.
Right, and maybe the armbands are free, whatever, but whatever.
Used through the partner program, the stipulations would be in that contract.
Yeah,
Right.
I think once we get the design drawings with like what courts are actually gonna be on there, then we can take that to rec committee and say, okay, we're gonna build this, come up with some usage.
Yes.
Right.
and don't get me wrong, like, I think that the partner programs and the leagues are really important, right? They're awesome.
But
And so you can't have all 8 though, like, you need 7, or you can 3 out of 7.
Right,
Right.
but, right, but now, Yeah. Okay, it
Is
is.
there a pickleball league in?
Yeah, yeah, yes.
Yes.
A bunch of members.
They-
Yeah, so, but there's only 4 courts.
Right.
And you tell the league, because right now the league gets the courts, I lost track, in the morning, in the evening, and if you're in Georgetown, want to go play tennis, you can't because pickleball's of you. Well, the same problem is, when you want to go play, you don't tell me to play at 2 o'clock in the afternoon because there's only 4 courts, so we just got. But,
Yeah.
Yeah. Complex and.
by the way, just remember, the other thing is a badge reader, please.
Yeah.
That's would be part of the, any
Yes,
science
so
that
there's
is.
no walk-ons from.
Yeah, it's all badge access.
So-
The other X
so-
factor I threw into this is the pavilions, of the whole point that somebody could use it for parties. So that's even another part to raise revenue, but also make it even more fun, to figure out the usage.
Yeah. Parks and Rec.
But it would be a good space for a kid's birthday party or something during the day to be able to have a court there to
It's-
throw a basketball or whatever on, plus, use the pavilion.
I guess currently we don't rent any of our parks for playgrounds. Like,
We don't rent the playgrounds or the tennis courts or the only thing that we allow rental out for just closure, but that's for the swim team for their needs.
Yeah,
So we don't close amenities for parties other than like Heritage Hall.
I would be
or
careful just on that precedent, so you know, about the pickleball and the expectations you do for tennis or soccer, all kinds of other stuff, so
Yeah,
just be
Parks
careful.
and Rec.
Parks and Rec probably.
Should decide that. Okay. That was good discussion. Thank you, Andrew. All right. Any other comments on multi-function courts? Okay. Parks enhancements. So, yeah, and that subgroup, as a reminder, is Jim, Joanna, and Mark.
Well, there's a lot going on, both with a lot of the current spending this year and the reserve study for next year, which I think we have to really concentrate on that as to where funds are happening. Because if they're going to be replacing all the equipment at the Lakeside Park, certainly don't want to be doing anything at Lakeside while they're going through all that, just like we would have wanted to do things at Long Meadow this year. And with splash pad 851, not knowing exactly timing, how much that's going to be, if it's multi-function courts, as to how much they're going to be and where they're going. I just want to, I'll give a quick update on capital fund, just so we understand where we're at. For 6 months, 159 homes have been sold at an average price of 816,000. So we got capital fees, we didn't collect them all yet for 657,000 versus if we didn't have it, it would be closer to 200,000. So if that's for the first 6 months, if we duplicate that in the second half of the year, plus phase 2A of Island Village they started marketing it about 6 weeks ago. And there's 82 homes and townhomes, and there are 31 currently under contract. And they should close by the end of the year. So that means we should be in a situation, capital fund. So we should be getting about 1.4 million in capital fees this year. And we also have 500,000 comes from operating. So the splash pad, other projects that the board has approved, if we spend 1.625 on 851 in the second half. And 354,500 was moved a few months ago from the capital fund replacement fund due to errors last year as to where money came out of. So it actually reduced the capital fund by 354,000.
So this was money that was capital that was taken out of the operating fund,
Reserve,
operating reserve,
the reserve for replacement reserve fund,
and should be, what was that for?
passive parks, things that I have to get the research on
It's
it.
a reallocation.
Yeah.
Have you guys collected anything on the accounts receivable?
Yeah, accounts receivable and the end of June were down to 800,000. So, Delamar paid up. So,
When's your Delmar and Astoria? They just have to cleared.
Astoria, so that's what you think.
The big three have.
Yeah.
So then you just have the sort.
Yeah, they give us like 200,000. So
Yeah.
but it's not- I think it's $50,000 some.
They were just.
Yeah,
what's
now they
one
fix the year.
We had
And then
in
we
5
can
years.
drop it.
You can always add money in, but you never take.
So receivables are up to 1.2 million. Once it's clear,
So
so
that doesn't affect the operating, I mean, that's the
So it was affecting operating, so what happened was operating was not moving the money, moving capital that was being earned, capital fees, because they were.
the cash flow issue.
Okay,
Yeah.
So we got to do that.
so now,
So anyway, we should be still at a little over $3 million in the capital flow by the end of the year. But that's what we
Is
have.
that where we've been projecting?
That's-
Originally, we projected that all of these would be this year.
right, but when you
No, available funds, the 3 million.
3 million, this is something I'm looking at.
Yeah.
So basically.
but it's, no, it's not. It's 400,000 to 500,000 less.
Yeah, it sounds
It doesn't to be. No, it went to the wrong account.
Yes.
We talk, put it in the right place now.
Yeah,
Right, and the projected home sale contribution is down 150,000. So we're after normalizing for the timing of the cash flow for town hall.
Yeah.
Just the projection for the end of this year, all things being equal, is down $500,000.
Just looking at it, right, the splash pad, no concern, betting at 851, there's no concern, betting at about 3 million average.
Right.
And then if you multi-function course coming, what they have, there's adequate funds for that.
Yes.
Beyond that, then that's where we can look at it,
Yeah.
making choices or what's appropriate or what's going on, what that looks like.
Is splash pad funded out of that 3?
Yeah.
Or it's already been removed, pulled out?
yes,
Yes,
yes.
It's already been pulled out,
So
so
it's
it's not
it's
like
gonna be paid by
well, it's projected
It's gonna be big enough.
to be paid out the 600,000 total.
So including that expenditure,
Yes.
we're forecasting 3 million in a year,
Yes.
inclusive of.
And that's only, that's only half.
3 million was
Yeah, that's, yes.
So I'm assuming we're gonna pay, in this 3,250,000. 1.65 this year, 65 next year.
Great.
So we start off your
That is good.
3,165,000. Now, next year, because, phase 2B, hopefully be complete and sold, we're estimating 375 at a higher average of 830,000. It's a lot of homes. They're gonna be more expensive than there is a small change, the capital allocation coming from the operating fund, which has been $500,000. A few years ago, they were doing it as half the apartment fees, but then it changed to just a fixed number. Probably at 250, just because issues with kind of what you see with the peer meeting.
What's that got to do with the capital?
The contributions that we want to.
The annual budget for 2026 originally had penciled $500,000 being funded. Because of increases that the association is seeing in other areas, they're looking at trying to reduce the overall increase. And a way to do that is
It's to rip off the capital fund, right?
It's an option.
Joe,
They're
we're
not-
not ripping off the capital fund.
It's, well, it was 500,000, now it's 250,000.
Right, because we're trying to keep dues at a reasonable number.
Okay,
It's really, if you look at it, the reduction in the capital is getting pushed into replacement. The replacement is gonna have close to a
What I
350,
would
400,000.
classify it as it's getting pushed to replacement. The replacement fund contribution currently this year is 1.1 almost. It was supposed to be 1.4, but we lowered it because we weren't taking money out of it for 851. Next year's replacement fund contribution is supposed to be $1.4 million, so that's a sizable increase in dues, about a 4% in dues. Your increase in CJC contribution is going up by an additional 3-something or 4% in dues because Canoa is decreasing their contribution. So those two combined is about a 9% increase in dues alone,
Not paying
Not
more for the
adjusting.
landscaping, nothing.
not adjusting anything.
Check with getting some.
Yeah.
Maintenance expenses or.
Jim, let me just correct it. What I meant to say is somebody determined for the last couple of years that to invest properly in the future of a celebration, $500,000 contribution in support of 14,000 people who live here, in support of all the facilities we have, and support the capital campaign. And now not because they, somebody doesn't.
Approach is another.
Not because somebody didn't think 500,000 is the right, it's because Canoa and all these other people, and we don't want to raise some of these, so we're gonna cut back on the investment in the future. We're gonna cut back in our future investment, so we don't raise some of these. And that's fine.
But it's still 250,000. We're still should be sitting at about 1.5 million at the end of next year.
It's
Multi-function courts, 51 slash.
I'm just saying it's 500,000 was the number, now it's
It
200.
used to be zero.
Well, for 1 year, right? It could be 500, right? Following year it could be higher, but 750 to do it. I don't know, so that's what we, to do it right on reserve. The reserve study originally had about 2 million to start. And they were gonna do 2.5 million spend for 851. And we have 1.2 million to start. So replacement was already 800,000 behind whole.
Yeah.
You stripped out of replacement, do capital 851 fix.
Yeah.
So that's just a burden on the community that's where it needs to come from.
Okay.
That replacement wasn't funded appropriately through all the prior years, but then the maintenance of 851 wasn't done correct.
So,
So
right.
this is just, I look at it as a 1 year pullback in the budget that capital needs to slow down a little bit. It's not gonna impact all the programs that I said here that we're in. So
But then
it's just a little slower and then maybe
Then
they'll
I'm-
catch up in the future year.
I think that's a good way. I wouldn't say we're doing it because Canoa's cut back, which is how it was written. I would say, look, as you just, and I know you can twist this any way you want, but to say, fine, anyway, so here we are. Because Jim, what you did say, just to be direct, you did say, well, I'm not sure we can do these future projects with parks enhancements because we may have less money. So we are impacting our ability to invest in the plan because of that.
Well, I would say this isn't a final decision too. We're still, the finance committee still discussing, they're making their recommendation to the board.
Okay.
Management has already informed the finance committee that we will have some separate differing recommendations to the board, and the board will make the final decision.
Got it.
So if this committee
It's all
wants to
good.
have
Good
input into it, then
No.
Without going down rabbit hole, Canoa has the choice to not
yes.
contribute as much as they
I can explain.
what happened.
Okay.
That's a good offline.
That's all
That's a good offline.
Disney is no longer on. Disney always agreed to pay 600,000. Since they left, each letter now on to say, we don't get that value. They did a study and it's going down to like half.
Which is a huge impact to all of us in celebration.
Going
Okay,
down
And
to
they're
200
party
to
side.
so.
Yeah, well, kind of.
It's less downtown.
Yes.
But it's less.
But as we talk about park enhancements, remember that's part of phase one, which rolls through 2027. So we are discussing it early. There is still, we're looking on track where we can do this in plan or in line with the master plan that was done last year. To stay on track, even with any hiccups or changes in any of
To
it.
pivot with park enhancements and looking at what's currently in the 2026 replacement, you have the lakeside park, lakeside playground for 144,000. You have the lakeside courts repaint, painting and doing that for 42,000. And then you have a whole list of North Village playgrounds and sunshades for about 352,000.
Designated as the lane, is that?
Well, that's what happened, but it's like this conversation, but as
With
far as-
with consultation with the board.
Okay, so
And I just want to explain, this 1.5 million includes 650,000 of either park enhancements or other board approved projects.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not that we're not gonna do them.
Got
That's
Okay,
next
still-
year?
Yeah.
well, no, to me, no, well, no, it's three, right, George, and it's 300 for other parks enhancements, right? Because that 350 is money that they're using for,
No, I have no one knows.
No one knows.
It's been approved,
right,
right? I
right,
mean, they could
got
decide that, no, they're not gonna spend any of capital, they're gonna let this committee do it.
it. Okay, so anyway, this is a
Can
good,
we do like a phase 1B?
okay, but hold on, let me see, this has been a good discussion. Let me just take it back a little bit. Jim, was that it? You finished with your financial?
Yeah.
Okay, so the bottom line is there's uncertainty in the housing market, right? And that's lowered the projection versus 6 months ago. So there was the 350, there was the wrong pocket money thing, fewer sales next year. So that bottom line is down about 900,000.
Yeah.
From the end of 2026. A couple months ago, first, fine. So, and if that number drops again, then we slow down lots of things, right? We will constantly looking. But what I think we have an obligation to do for the parks, okay, is to say the 851 and splash pad are done. The amount for 851 is to be determined, but that's good enough. Next up, we're progressing from a direction that I received as recently as today from the code board, and continue going on the multi-function courts, right? So they'll make the go or no-go decision at the December, January, February board meeting, whatever that may be. But that's a separate discussion. We continue implementing what we said we were gonna do as far as that. Or how many courts it goes. So now the next group is, okay, how do we prioritize that list? Prioritize it. And as Jim pointed out, things change, right? Whatever happens, they decide they only want to do the increase at 5 or 6% for OFBs, in which case they'll take out more money. And that's their decision. That's why we elected them to go do. And we'll just defer to that. But what we say is, here is the list of $1.4 million worth of parks projects. And we'll put Lauren's Lakeside update, we prioritize that first and made that up. And so that's 250 gone, or whatever the number is, right? Plus, couple hundred thousand.
Yeah.
And then we say, okay, so we're not gonna do anything else, but if we were, when we get more comfortable, here's the next project, here's the next project, here's the next project. And then as Mark mentioned today, okay, but now do you invest a little bit of money to go get engineering plans to be poised for priority 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, and 3 on the project extensions. But in a minimum, I think what we owe it to ourselves and to the community is to say, here's the prioritized list. Here's what we think is the dollar amount. And we'll recommend it going forward as we know more, but at the minimum, this is kind of the last business. If we look at phase 1 of the master plan, this is all that's left then, is parks enhancements. And some of those parks enhancements are even in phase 2.
About Heritage Park.
That's phase 2.
It's
It must agree.
And I guess that's where on that, right?
Yeah.
I know we're a little short on capital potentially this year, but if Heritage Hall is a 2027 project, that's, I think, 2.3 million. If you push that out to 2028,
Heritage Hall,
then you can funnel back into park enhancements and you can pick and choose.
If-
If
If the take rate of capital funds coming in.
Well,
Yeah, well, that's-
phase 2 goes through
Well, it's
2030.
the big one that we have kind of just determined.
Yeah.
What that next foot plan look like. And again, I just brought up the replacement because that's coming up on schedule for things and maybe we as a group say, you know what, Lakeside, pull off on that. North Village, yeah, that needs to upkeep. Well, maybe we all agree that East Village is where the money goes, but again, that's, I think, for us, next time, a conversation of what ideas are out there and how do we want to kind of prioritize it for what that next step can be.
What's the replacement, fund? Where's that?
Replacement of existing assets like what? large assets, like the playgrounds,
Okay.
the windows, the pool.
And what's
heaters.
the reserve study?
Huh?
Is the reserve study done?
Every 3 years.
Every 3 years.
It was just.
Replacement is the same as reserve?
Yes.
So,
Reserves is that, and then there's-
It's like for like replacement.
yes, yeah, and so we need to think that if something's coming up on cycle and we've got an investment.
Yes.
What Andrew
Right.
brought up
Right.
a couple.
And I would say that just, if we do decide to go with Lakeside.
Yeah.
You're not getting $144,000 playground. So you gotta expect $100,000 coming from capital or something else to do that.
projects come up that come in line with MPAC stuff, like the
Yep.
Lakeside Playground. We're gonna eventually bring it here for you guys to discuss. We start, for example, Lakeside Playground, we started with rec committee and say, give us your wish list, what do you want a playground?
Last month. So
Last
we're
month.
Very early.
So now we're we're putting those all together and coming up with some ideas, and then we'll bring it here and say, okay, well, reserves has $100,000 for this. We know that's not gonna pay for life, and it's certainly not gonna get their wish list, so what do you guys wanna recommend in terms of?
And that's why I said, and that's why I think, Jim, we just need to look at some of these other projects that are on, give me a moment, I can see them. North Village Playgrounds, North Village Meeting Rooms, East Lawn Meeting Rooms, East Lawn Pool Shade, Magic Jones Room, Artisan Playground, bathrooms, et cetera, amphitheater bathrooms.
And we also added pool heaters and maintenance shed bathrooms or.
Oh,
Pool heaters is not,
Should not be,
no, pool heaters is not,
that's gotta be.
That's gonna take.
that's been taken,
Oh, that was the
Education.
addition of,
yes.
Maggie's partnering with us to put a pool here in phase 2.
But I guess.
Yeah, maintenance.
That's electric size, right? Isn't
And
it?
so it's a lap pool, it's probably gonna be bigger.
It's supposed to be
I'm pretty sure
bigger,
it's the same
I
thing.
can look at,
almost.
like, has to do with
I
like,
guess, does management have any direction on what that meeting shows gonna look like, cost, et cetera?
No, let's make sure pause here.
That's what she was.
There's not a lot of,
Because I know they're giving you that land, but
well, it's supposed to
But
be,
there's
but
two
what they're
points.
giving
but
us.
that's prong two of the other.
That's not-
maintenance that currently exists.
You mean,
It's updated.
No, in
I'm just saying
phase
both.
4.
yeah, I mean, okay, but that doesn't solve your
Giving
problem.
us this postage.
But you have, we still have an unresolved problem.
Yes,
yeah,
Yes,
that- and then the other more urgent thing, I think, is which, once we find out is the lakeside pool house roof is up for $110,000 this year, which they're currently just getting a review of inspection, where if you're gonna do a whole new roof on that building, if we wanna keep that same structure, that's fine, but if we wanna do additions, I think it's prudent to do it before you put a whole new roof on. So if there's any change in structure there, that's something to consider.
Yes, exactly. And just so you have these things all get compounded. So you could say, well, when we look at the lakeside playground, okay, well, we'll just prioritize that later on. But I think you had mentioned, somebody mentioned, that if we defer that, we'd have to make a $30,000 investment
yeah,
At least.
for
safety reasons.
safety reasons. So you want to go spend 30 and then 2 years from now, rather than, so we can force a discussion.
It's patched today, but it'll block for a while, but we need to, that's why
Like, we're like 2 years,
starting this process.
2 year line?
No,
Like,
like,
let's get
let's
to
say,
two thousand twenty-six level.
Okay, so again, so that is gonna come forward and say, well, do you wanna go spend and ask us, you wanna go spend 200,000 plus the 144, I made up 200,000. And we'll say, well, no, I'd rather spend it on a bathroom at the amphitheater. So I think we have to look at those projects versus Lakeside, right? Because Lakeside discussion is gonna come up.
The 30,000 that we were doing is literally just replacing a platform panel with a new platform panel. It's something that no one's, it's just dumping money on an old playground.
which part of the playground is it?
The 2 to 5.
That's what over the line. When you were not on this,
You would have that whole structure you would replace?
No,
No,
just
just a
the,
plat.
just a few plats in it,
so
I
it's
guess
going to,
from what I'm hearing though tonight is
floorboards.
that playground should be fixed sooner than later.
That's what.
but my,
The North Village playgrounds have been inspected by our CPSI inspector, and they agree in conjunction with us and the board that its replacement that's scheduled for next year can be delayed for a
Good.
handful of years. So that's why we just replaced the artificial turf at the, what's it, not the Todd lot, yeah, at the Todd lot this year.
Which we were going to say, if they're going to be redoing the playground, we were not going to replace the turf.
So I guess on
Yeah,
the
too, right?
Or no, that was fully shaded.
That's hard.
I think it's gonna be replaced, it's just the canopy needs replaced.
what is that, what's the useful life that you're thinking then with the playground?
Probably under 5 years.
Okay, so there's no reason to get around, it's just, it's coming up.
Yeah.
And it's one option though, when Jim prioritizes all those projects. Joanna. You just spend 30,000 and fix that, and put a Band-Aid on until Parks and Rec, we'll just keep that the way it is.
North Village is already been.
Not North Village,
Lakeside, we would need to reconsult the safety inspector for playgrounds and see if that is all.
Okay, but you can spend 30, 50,000 and just announce
And go for another
5
3
years
years, 5 years.
and invest in another project instead. So I mean, that's gonna be as you had mentioned.
Again, that's in the reserve study for next year.
Yes, but
So it's already, I mean, that.
But just because something comes out of the reserve study doesn't mean.
no,
I don't know, it doesn't mean it's gonna have to happen.
Yeah.
But if it makes more sense,
You can
then
take it out.
you can take it out of reserve and not,
Yes,
there might be some that comes out of capital,
yeah,
but just in excess of probably what they were.
yeah,
they replaced it.
But putting aside the funding of it for a second, I think what we talked about the other day is they will come, the board will say, hey, what do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think? 30,000, 50,000, 400,000, forget this funding for a second, you know, how would you recommend we approve that investment versus the other investments you're gonna come forward in 3, 6, 9, 12 months? And we would say, it's,
what would you say?
Here's the other thing.
If you,
But I agree with
if you go the 50,000 route, I would look at it saying, there was a splash pad for 600,000 that just went into Lakeside. It's time to allocate funds elsewhere. We did Spring Park with their new playground, which was 500,000. We did Lakeside with a splash pad, we have to move around the community.
that's what I would say, that's what I would say.
Spend what you have to get saved, kick it.
And,
Not you have to, but
yeah.
No, reasonable. The 30,000, whatever we need
Well,
to do.
and only because, Andrew, the reason I would say that is phase 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a lot of discussion, whether or not we put the multi-generational center there.
Yeah.
Or we reimagine the Jones Room and build it 2 stories or do something. There's gonna be a future investment there.
You're not going 2 stories. I don't know how many times I have to say
In that vein too, when we redo that playground, you're gonna have to go straight through the Great Lawn.
Okay, so
There's no other access point.
for 3 months.
We will.
we need straight through the great.
There's no other access point.
Bunch of
You get
steps.
machine-
Rustin entrance.
Part of any control.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, if
But if we're gonna
if we're gonna delay things, or you're gonna do something like at Great Lawn or build a multi-generation.
Just say, if you put those lines there, you can get around it.
Exactly.
Right, yeah, so,
But to your point, I'm not spending 150,000 just to throw money at it, but it costs 300 to fix it, so that's the other,
well,
how much are we putting in to keep it, how many years?
With some minimums, we can put in.
well, that's right. It's just 30,000
Last for 5 years.
5 years, great,
Done.
30,000, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, I think that's what we'd say, but again, then, Jim, by the way, and then Mark, say, okay, because, wait, why do you wanna do that? Because we think there's other investments that are important, such as the amphitheater or on the sports fields behind whatever they call that field, the green field.
yeah.
Behind
East Lombard.
East Lawn, right?
It's great.
Well, I mean, because Mark is gonna say it any minute, that's what I'll say it for him, right? But, you know, building these getting engineering plans for these pods.
Yep.
That are a little meeting room for the Boy Scouts and bathrooms for the athletes.
Yep.
And, you know, these 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 square foot buildings that you would theoretically be able to put. As you
Design
prioritize,
once.
design once, and over the next 10 years, put 3 or 4 of them. Over the next. Or not, but you put it on a list and then, you know, you all would, you know, decide how to prioritize.
Yeah, it's the incremental add of new assets as opposed to staying at one, if we can let that one. That one.
Just overall, I think things that need attention sooner than later would be, I think the North Village Pool House is needing
So
some.
that's on
And then
list.
we need to kind of follow up, and then I would say great to have the pods and everything for East Lawn, but I think that pool and pool house needs a relook at too. That, I don't think that was ever brought up to celebration standard of what's expected in our community. And that might be something that is looked at before you put in other buildings in that area.
Right, but these are all, now, we didn't put just when we did our master plan, we said all these things, we talked about the pool area, but we never talked
We
about,
talk bathrooms, punch them up, or is that a,
that was a maintenance thing.
That's us.
That's maintenance thing. Yeah, we said all
Lakeside-
holes were,
Park, more like a replacement piece, not a next.
Well,
yes,
yes, but
But
with
same with East Lawn. Same with East Lawn. We said any bathroom. pool
all those need to be punched up.
Right, and then we would
If we
have,
don't do punch up,
That
what we
technology.
recommended, we gave a list of 10 places to punch up, and they're doing it.
and then the lakes, and then the East Lawn pool would be shade, technology, water refill, or whatever amenities that we can add to that space.
Okay, so
Do you wanna, if you have that list, share it, and then if there's anything else we add to it,
Yeah.
and that's where further discussion is to how we prioritize it.
Or we just add more shade technology integration.
So I also, I do have one thing I want to add, but it could be at the end.
But so I think Jen, Joanna, Mark, and anybody else, Andrew, you want to help is to look at that list, right? And Jen, we did a nice PowerPoint presentation on it.
Right,
Okay, you did this beautiful piece of work. So we should just take that, add some specs on, but then I think because,
I think we asked everybody to prioritize their projects.
yes, and Mark, and one thing, and it's interesting is everybody, I collected them. I sent the email out to prioritize them, and one guy was 1 to 8, the other guy was 8 to 1 now. So, and then we said, well, let's go back to, it's not what you think, but the thing is that the master plan and all the surveys, everything we did were very good, except for the lawn and facilities, and
Yeah.
parks enhancements. It didn't get granular enough. We didn't ask people, we you pick this bathroom over that bathroom.
Yeah.
We didn't get into that parks enhancements. So that's something we said we would do. We would socialize, you'll get community input from one, but we at least need to give based upon our 3 years of working on this.
Yeah.
Right? What do we think?
Yeah.
Right? And because it's gonna come up soon with downtown, right? With the Lakeside Park.
Yeah.
Right? Where we should say, we would make a recommendation to spend the minimum amount to ensure the safe and healthy of our residents. And then we would prioritize which store projects. Yes. And then, we show it to the borough board and they say, well, they can do what they want with it, but we need to at least say this is ours.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm comfortable agreeing to that now, tonight, so the board has that direction for the lakeside, like, if everyone else is on board.
Same.
No reason to wait on anything. That's our direction.
That's our direction for that. Discussion?
The formal vote or all.
But do we know what it's gonna cost?
No, we haven't even got this.
Up to $50,000,
You're-
that would be our,
The committee's recommendation is to spend up to $50,000 to make it safe. We will take that recommendation along with, the rec committee's recommendation to the board, and the board can give
Yeah,
a direction on that.
That's just point, right, along that line, we don't, Lakeside's coming up in their replacement, but we don't see that as an immediate need for fixing.
Well,
So that's.
for investment, they're gonna pay for a replacement.
upgrade.
We would repair it rather than replace it, because how much did, never mind.
550.
No, 550, but not including all the repeats. Just to put, but not all the 3 times we had to pay people, and all this, it's just the actual last
It's
time.
almost like 250 for equipment and 200,000 for,
Yeah,
uh,
The safety.
turf. Yeah, the turf is almost as much as the equipment.
What
Okay,
about the one by the school?
okay, so that's your, so.
But it's a much smaller.
Like the-
footprint, so you should be to that extreme. Most
Okay.
spring park is the largest playground. Yeah,
Probably
that's north of it would be that cost.
all.
All right, so anyways, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars to,
500,000 is a probably bigger mark for what the replacement.
So
What was that?
I
Well,
don't think that much. That's a small area. You're not dealing with the same equipment.
okay,
for reason?
it's called 350. It's called 350. When we, if it's 350, forget who's paying for it, which fund. If it was 350, not 500,000, but way down to 350, okay? 350, would you invest 50,000 to repair it? I think, the only reason I have a problem with saying the exact amount is how long does that buy?
Well,
So it's actually gotta get that.
up to 50 if you get 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, I think
It's gonna, but there's also, we get a lot of push. Playground needs sunshades.
That's fair enough, but
I think.
Yeah.
Well, they're all, they're-
I think we need to do some more back office work,
Yeah.
and then when we're ready to bring this to the board, we'll get a recommendation from your committee, we'll get a recommendation from the rec committee, and we'll.
You gotta put this on the safety guys.
but in the meanwhile, you know, meanwhile, is that, we are repairing rather than investing hundreds of thousands of dollars. If it could be repaired, which,
Based on the fact that we're putting a kiddie pool, right?
well, I mean, we're making, it's just, we have a long list of investments that we have, right, that we identified. Right, new things that aren't fixed, right?
We'll actually explore that thought process along with the thought process.
Looking back to
It's
the
more significant, simple.
East Village and North Village restrooms are in 2027.
Okay.
So, and there's about 50,000 for
Well, nice.
North Village and about the same maybe for East Village.
So how much did it cost you inside?
300,000
for both.
total.
It's like 150 each.
150 each, and these are a lot smaller, I'm just thinking. It's
Yeah, it's smaller.
Expensive.
simply so much so far.
I had that before.
So, but so yeah, you may be looking at 100, 50,000 for each from.
Six.
I would say when you do the North Village pool house, you're gonna do that other extra
Yes.
components
That room.
along with that.
Yes, that's not different, yes,
Yes,
right,
yes.
yes, exactly. Yeah, okay,
But I guess, just thinking about it, right, if 2027 are bathrooms, then you could flip flop with playgrounds, so that's an option. As far as 2026.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what we see as more of a priority and something we want to fix in our community. Then that can be where it's thinking.
Any other questions, comments,
Here's my
parks announcements?
out of left field.
Okay.
So when we did all of our work, we said that baseball fields exist. The arrangement and the agreement used to be the Crow had a joint use agreement with the school.
Yeah.
And then that got blown up because,
The school was unhappy with Crow.
yes,
Yes.
right? The experience in the situation is terrible, right? We do all the maintenance, we bought a tractor, like, I'm saying Little League, right? Little League bought a tractor, we spent $3,000, we mow it, right? They mow it, but it's not kept to what should, we are not proud of that, we've said that to Cecilia long ago. It's a crappy thing right in the middle of town. I don't know how, right, because I've been angling for looking for land and doing all stuff, talking to management, but it doesn't exist. The corner lot, which the one field sits on, there's another field in the back.
Yeah.
Would this committee be interested to say, okay, can we reinitiate some sort of joint use agreement with the school and entertain that idea again?
To my knowledge, the school was looking to fence off the baseball fields in that area. So I don't see any opportunity to approach the school board and try to change.
right? Yes, they have.
So I talked to Terry back in April, and I don't know that they're gonna fence that up. They don't use that. Gary doesn't use it. They don't want it. It's the school district, not the board, right? So Sharma was saying that, the level, we would never sell them. That's fine, they would never sell
So
it.
that's why we have to get Greg feedback on.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, but could we develop it,
Early and often.
the land lease and 1 year out? So I guess the question is, would this group support engaging in those conversations? And rather enjoy the use?
DD's priority? Baseball field? I
Uh,
recall them mentioning that.
If they were gonna do a bond, we would throw money in that bond
So
for.
on the baseball field, I believe they looked behind the school, but didn't work there.
This gas.
And then they looked at, lot enough.
So where,
This would never fit.
where are you talking about?
So where the baseball field is right now,
Yes.
right in the corner,
Yes,
that whole corner. Right, first of all, that baseball field used to be larger, it used to be high school size.
yes, I know, yes.
But that whole corner can fit 2 fields, bathrooms.
Just talking about
station.
where they were gonna put the community center.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
which we're never.
Okay. and that, and so the only people, the flag football people out there occasionally.
Like, I think people, it's more like pickup practice.
Yeah, I got
You're talking, oh, sorry, you're talking
The open grass field.
Open grass
lot
field.
D or?
No, no.
The next thing,
You're talking about right field with the current,
right field, center field.
right field, center field.
So you have one on you have one,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
main one's on the far left side.
Yeah.
And you have a small
T-ball
T-ball
field.
field. You're saying you can put another field on there or?
That whole
Build.
We could put
Yeah, you can put
Build-
2 fields.
Ball, barricade, the building, the bathroom, concession, we can make it-
I didn't realize it's that big.
you know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let- let-
the field
so
is-
let's,
The field is big enough to put 2 there, the same size as the one that is there. They'd butt up to each other back to back. And then to his point, there's corners to put other structures.
So then would it be something where it would truly be a lease agreement? Because if you're already taking care of it, pretty much just.
We don't, and let me retract a little bit,
what a
they
lease.
public. There's no
But
manicure.
you don't have a lease, that's, there's no lease right now.
So right now we work through Facilitron, direct relationship.
Can I make a recommendation? Charles and I have set up a monthly call with Terry. Do you want us to just load this at the next one?
So I floated it at our opening day. I think it needs to be a little more aggressive with the, hey, because she was like, oh, but what if we wanted to build here? I'm like, you're not turning in a year. We're just putting fields up, maybe in a building.
Just like a fence or something, right? Backs up a little.
It's fencing, right? Lights, we would want.
But they want to build 5 years from now, they can build 5 years from now.
Give us a 12-month out.
Yeah, absolutely, it's not, but not, it's still your property.
They're not building there. There's no way.
They want to,
I don't think it can be used, but I think there may be opportunities for the lease.
Yeah.
Because if they're not using it, then maybe there's a way that.
at least where they get
We
the
take on the upkeep of our stuff, so it's our field, we're taking care of it and everything else, they don't have that additional expense general there.
What structure do you have today though for the field? Is that a lease or just you get, is it just you get to use it?
Just
Just Osceola County School District
So it's-
reservation system.
it says pretty much you're outside of the school fence, so anyone can use it for the most part.
Yeah.
Where
Uh,
it's inside the fence.
Not
you're
necessarily, right? So you have to have insurance, you have to have,
Okay, okay,
you
okay.
have to have a contractor Facilitron.
So you just want to take that relationship and expand it?
Bring it back to the way
I
it
want to bring
was.
it back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
If someone gets your attention, and then we can invest some, like,
if Lauren and Charles are talking to this
Yes.
person, I think it would be a great idea to let
Yeah.
them float that and say, you would like to talk even more about it.
Yeah.
I mean, he already floated it to her, but if it's coming from a board member and during our
Yeah.
check-ins, then it's a little bit more serious, and then it's kind of the natural next step into.
if you guys are supportive of that, I'd love to.
Do you have a little bit of a design?
Yes.
I think that's where you say, look, this is what we want to
Well,
do.
this is what it is, it's a couple of fences, it's this, it's,
Well,
well.
I'd love to shoot for the fences.
You're gonna build. Yeah. Yes.
But again, even
This was,
even if it's just backstops and
Yeah, but-
you're.
But those, I think those permanent structures.
One would be, so this is that corner, right? So 2 fields, batting cage, and a small little building, restroom building, right, concession stand, but you can get 2 fields.
So
That
with that concession stands, you know, building,
would be the only structure.
how big is that?
For sure.
Okay. But,
So,
You would-
Just as a reminder,
Also,
as a reminder.
I know.
We're going to page 88 on here. 88 said, when we look at celebration, baseball fields versus national averages versus, we're talking about baseball. fields. Okay, so that was a known, and our solution in this paper was not to mention. Because we have to look. So we didn't put it here, because we're going to go build it, because we didn't have anywhere to put, but the reason we didn't put it in here was because we didn't have.
Getting cut off in 20 seconds.
Not because we don't need it.
Yeah.
It was listed at the top of the gaps, like what we should have and what we do have.
I guess the one concern would be if you do fences, that probably hinders any like football or lacrosse or anything else that uses the outfield for different things.
For practices.
Yeah.
You go to Green, to East Lawn Park.
You got East Lawn that ought to be redone as well.
Right, no,
And the soccer fields.
So there's still open space. There wouldn't be enough open space.
But did the flag football people go do the same thing you do? They go get permission, go have their leagues there, or whatever they do?
No,
For
they're-
practice, no, this was just.
So that's-
Like football should go be more like the CCFC fields and using that lawn.
Yeah, the way they operate though, the way they operate is empty practices up to the coaches and coaches say.
Okay, but then it all goes back to East Lawn.
Practices are anywhere.
But in East Lawn, right, we've said, maybe this goes hand in hand, but we're gonna invest a little bit in East Lawn.
Yes, if that field was better, that would work.
Yeah, because that field's a better field than.
That's actually where we.
Going back to, I put the purpose and everything, if baseball fits there, then let's do it. If there's another area for practice and things like that, then that's where we just really push those activities.
Yeah. Basically, I mean, any of this,
Football practices all over the place.
that corner could be a nice little baseball.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, last topic, anybody else like to talk about anything else? Do we have any?
No, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. If there's nothing else, meeting adjourned. It's off. I don't know if there's-